where they hired Rachel Zegler. Now, why did they hire her? Did they hire her because she was the best for the role? Did they hire her because she was the best Latina for the role? No, they hired her because she was the best Latina for the role, who was also the best activist. Because it started out as an activist production, and the activists behind the scenes wanted activists in front of camera. That's why they hired her. And you have the exact same thing here. When you look at cast here, they're playing different versions of themselves. Like for instance, this obese Klingon chick who's like half what, yeah, it's Klingon Jem'Hadar chick. I mean, who of course the character is also a lesbian. But look at the actress behind this character. She's also a super duper activist who even went on record to say that being woke is good.
That's
And
right.
she's also like a LGBTQIAP plus activist and everything like that. I mean, she's practically a walking stereotype. That's who they cast. Now, is she the best actress they could find for the role? Or does she share the mindset and the values of everyone else in the writer's room and other producers there? They're activists looking to hire more activists to just make the most activist project that they possibly can make. And that's what they all are, all of them.
Yeah, so I'd like to just add some subtle nuance to what you're saying.
Oh, go for it.
I think Rachel Ziegler was hired primarily because she still was anointed by Steven Spielberg. Whatever her activism was, I think she still had the Steven Spielberg touch of
the bona fides. Yeah, she had that.
Yeah, she did have that too. Yes,
she can.
She could sing. Yep.
So the activism was a bonus. The reason they're hiring activists is the same reason as back in my day. If you weren't doing cocaine, you weren't trusted by the producers.
Really?
That's literally true. Yeah. If you went on a set, I'm clean, it made them nervous.
Yeah.
So you have a group of people, it's self-selecting in the sense that we want a cohesive set. We're not going to have a cohesive set unless these people are thinking the same way. Right. We're not looking for people to think the same way. We just want to have a bunch of nice people that we don't want to end up having to argue with. And if we hire someone who is known conservative, we know that our sensitive crew will go ape shit.
Yeah. And they probably ask a few probing questions, when they're
casting. They don't have to do that. Sure. If they know James Wood is on the set, it'll be the same freak out as when Elon Musk went on SNL and 2 or 3 of the cast members said, we are refusing to work with him. Oh so it would be like putting a magnet, like a positive magnet in, amongst of other positive. Yes. It's just like the scatter. I think the activism is primarily like a bonus, but they do want to have like-minded individuals, which
not hard.
You hire the best actor. They're not doing it.
I'm sure that's the entire pool. Go ahead, Tom.
And it runs really deep because I'll tell you guys, a lot of the interviews I did early on here for the channel, there was almost every time a section where I had to just cut it out, where each and every one of them would go on some political diatribe.
Yeah.
Against Trump or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It was almost inevitable. And it almost generally never had anything to do with anything we were talking about. And I'm talking about people you even respect and love that I interviewed. Trust me on this one. I'm not going to name names.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say that there was sections I had to just cut out altogether because they just went on a political spiel. So like I said, this runs deep and hard into their systems. So the few that I managed to still function in Hollywood, like one of the individuals we're probably about to talk to who actually have more conservative or Christian leanings, it's very few and far between, and they have to be big stars to basically be able to function still.
Yeah.
Like the few that are out there, like, Stallone and
Pratt.
The others. Yeah. And Chris Pratt, who we're going to talk to here in a little bit.
Yeah.
Are the few and far between. Like you said, they're the exception to the rule, right? Even James Woods, can't even have a career anymore because of his political leanings. But
I think something else, it dawned on me as you were or as Andre was bringing up the Ziegler. You know, I guess we all remember when Ziegler and Godot were on the red carpet, and Godot would act sort of like the wine aunt or whatever, sort of, here's my little niece. Yes, it's not going to be about the prince saving the Snow White or whatever. But could you imagine the game-changing move that would have happened if someone on the Disney Snow White set had told Peter Dinklage, man, screw you. We are going to hire vertically challenged people to play the dwarfs. Are you insane? Is this because you didn't get cast, Peter? I mean, if they had decided just to push back on that rather than quickly, oh my gosh, we were gonna, you know, we thought it was a good thing or whatever. It just shows you the soft underbelly of almost everybody out there. So, Paul, I doubt it's very difficult for them to find like-minded people out there. I mean, I'm sure that's it, to Tom's point. Even there's so few that think differently out there.
Well, he did qualify. He did qualify. He's just tired of
Dinklage,
vertically challenged individuals being the magical people all the time.
But on this, but those same people are great with the magical Negro, or what is the black girl magic? There it is. I'm sorry. Sure. Right. I mean, it's so bizarre.
Yeah. I mean, again, people are so sensitive. But you're right. I think if actually they should have gotten a hiring agency run by a midget, right? You know,
under the rainbow.
Say, I don't care what Dinklage says. I've got an agency filled with actors that need work. I'm getting them on this movie.
Yeah, and get them all to say something about how great this. I mean, as a matter of fact, every week put out behind the scenes set interviews with the little people who are on the set. Calling
I believe companies like that do exist.
I'm still not convinced they ever were going to use little people.
I think Tom's right.
See, that's the thing is I think from the very start, Disney was never going to, because the one thing that makes, and this is just kind of a technical reason, the one thing that makes their Snow White different from anything else is they actually have names and personalities for the dwarves. Those are copyrighted. So Sneezy, Doc, Sleepy, Bashful, all that stuff, those are copyrighted characters. And that's what makes Disney's Snow White, right? Like, let's be real. That's kind of what makes it different from the rest of the stories that have been told before, stuff that's been taken that you can't just reuse, right? You can't make your own version with those 7 dwarfs in them, or Disney's going to sue your ass. And so from the start, they were going to probably make those characters CGI. I said that from day one. I think Dinklage, I think you're right. Like, in the front end of it, should have been getting behind little people and being like, wait a minute here, why isn't Disney hiring more people? Especially considering the 7 dwarves are probably one of the most benign little people fucking roles you can play. They're not magical creatures in any way. They're just little people.
Yeah.
Right? Like
diamond mine. Yeah.
Yeah, they work in a mine.
Yep.
Like, that's it. They don't have magical powers. They don't give Snow White anything that to move on forward with her journey. All they do is give her a place to fucking stay.
Yeah.
Although the modern version, they were mining for rare earths for the iPhone, which was
right. Yeah.
Well, they did have a little, like a sweatshop over in China. They had to.
That's right.
Yeah.
And the modern version.
That's why they need Greenland, so you don't have to go to the Chinese sweatshops. So,
The original title was Snow White and the 7 Dwarves. That's the official title of the 1937 film.
Yeah.
And I think that just the word dwarf, you know how we're not allowed to say retarded anymore. I think you can't say midget, you can't say little.
Well, even dwarf was supposed to be the word we could use, not midget, right?
So. Well, there was an era when you could use it. That era has apparently passed. So,
what can you call the vertically challenged now? I mean, to me, little people. To me, that sounds like.
Sounds like you're talking about children, right? Like,
exactly what. It sounds like exactly. Randy Newman said it.
Sounds like a slur.
I think we use cis height.
Cis height.
Of course,
vertically challenged. I guess
you can. Yeah, that way you bring it into the larger LGBTQIAP+ community. where it's everyone against the horrible cis white man.
Yeah, could you imagine on any most modern sets hiring an actor who just believes in two genders?
Oh, wow.
The cast would fucking freak out.
How refreshing.
Well, Chris Pratt is said
Yeah,
to be
he's
one
one.
of those, and we have like there's been like reports of people who are very, very upset by him because he hasn't really said anything offensive. I'm sure he's going to say something here right now.
He talks a lot like I do.
You know what? I'll bet you Hollywood crews absolutely run to any project he's involved in just to get away from the idiots.
And to get the steady paycheck.
Yeah, that too. I mean,
Yeah.
just the number of people who keep their mouth shut and are tired of it, and that this is a breath of fresh air. Bit of sanity.
Yeah.
I don't feel like someone's going to replace me. That's AI. You know, I heard this Tilly
It looks
Norwood
good.
thing. I think that's all bullshit. I've never seen her in a movie. I don't know who this bitch is. So, you know, like it's
Wow.
all fake until it's something. I think
He talks
Okay.
like I do. I don't know who this bitch is.
Okay,
That actually brings us to the main story. If you see the title of this stream, it is Chris Pratt slams Tilly Norwood. That's what he did just there. You don't know who this bitch is. And for those that do not know, this is a story that we covered some time ago when you had a talent agent who had invented a brand new talent that she became the agent for to get into movies, namely Tilly Norwood, a pure digital actress, an AI.
Sounds like a sequel
nothing
to
else.
Sim 1. Yeah.
It
I'm waiting for
does.
Al Pacino to pop out and go, hooah, gotcha again. Yeah.
Yeah. And the idea then is for this AI actress to be paid and star alongside Chris Pratt and other real actors, and eventually more and more not so real actors, more AIs. But the agent, they still get their money. So screw you, Chris Pratt, because
Well,
the,
I think
the
we have
agent still is optimistic.
I think we have to congratulate Variety for once again publishing a story that's 2-3 months old.
Yeah.
Like their finger is just on the heartbeat of technology.
Indeed.
Yeah.
the-
It took me a minute to remember what the hell this Tilly
Yeah.
Norwood thing
This is
was.
old.
Well, I think it's probably still a conversation that's going on because AI is in the news every day, right? And
Yeah.
obviously in Hollywood, nobody's more angry and pissed off about the possibility of AI actors than the unions and the actors themselves. So, I mean, I'm sure they're probably thinking about this every freaking day. It probably comes up in conversation
Mhm.
quite regularly out there, you know, because that's their industry suffering. Even Morgan Freeman, 88-year-old Morgan Freeman was asked about this thing, right? So I think it's funny.
I'm
Pratt's
already
got sort of the
25% AI.
yeah, he's got sort of that everyman response though, right? I mean, he doesn't seem worried about it. And he's only going to worry about it when somebody says, "No, thanks, Chris. We've got an AI actor handling your next."
I think we know we're in trouble when the next Samuel Jackson movie is AI on the plane.
I'm so sick of all these fake motherfuckers on this fake motherfucking plane.
That's
Why do I have 7 fingers?
Shit, AI. That's all you had to say.
But yeah, I think the main reason they're making a bigger deal out of this is because he called her a bitch. Let's be real. 'Cause that's why they made a
Yeah.
headline out of this.
Well,
They're
and you
trying
know
to
what?
make it a big deal.
Well,
And it also
negotiations are
makes him
coming up.
more likable out there, right? Because all of them are either your response to Chris Pratt today, if you're a Hollywood actor, is either, well, he's just a dummy, or I totally agree with him, right?
He's
Yeah.
a sexist, racist pig. That's
Oh,
what
there
a
you
lot
go.
of them will say.
Can you be
And for
sexist?
those wondering, for those who are watching, if you see on screen right now, there you have a picture of Tilly Norwood, who looks like someone that Disney very well might have cast as Snow White instead of Rachel Zegler, in case she wasn't available. Because I assure you, if singing is required, then Tilly Norwood would be able to do it. And basically, whatever is required, Tilly Norwood would be able to harness the power of AI to do it, because it's an AI. This is not a real individual. This is an output of a program. So therefore, it's problematic if Chris Pratt refers to this program and this piece of code as a bitch.
You brought up, you made me think of something too, Andre. It would not surprise me in the least if Disney, when they create their contracts for their actors for movies, there's something buried in there that we can use your likeness and your voice to make sequels. Like there could be an Ellen McKay 2. This time it didn't cost us anything. We've got a sequel to that last bomb, but this time it's all pure profit. All we did was plug in the new script, and AI wrote the script and AI created the actors, and we're going to get this out to cinemas right away. Would not surprise me in the
I
least.
can't wait till she plays the daughter of Ray.
I think that the unions and the agencies are probably getting a lot of actors, because you have some actors or their estates or whatever that are licensing, the likeness or the voice. And you have some actors like even Mark Hamill, embraced when the deep fakes were doing, right now you can go out and watch Star Wars stories and see all kinds of deep fake Luke Skywalker stories. Most of them are crap because the people who are creating them don't understand editing or cinematography. So you get a Darth Vader kneeling before the Emperor, and you zoom in and it zooms out and it zooms in. I mean, it's not cinematic.
There's a lot of anomalies you got to deal with.
Sure. But I think that savvy actors are probably making sure you guys are not going to AI me. It's either me or it's some other actor. It's not going to be some AI version of me.
I agree. I think the bigger problem here, I think that Tilly Norwood's never going to be a thing. Or if anything, Tilly Norwood will only be the only one that ever makes any kind of waves, because I think you're right. The future is in these actors selling their likeness, their entirety, basically like the musicians are now, because they know there's no money in being a musician anymore unless you just sell out.
Yep.
Which is ironic as hell.
Isn't it?
But I think actors are in the same realm, and we've brought this up before. We've talked to Gary Tunnicliffe, who is a famous special effects guy who's worked on a bunch of the Scream films and Hellraiser films and stuff like that. So like he's told us the exact same thing, where the future is basically these actors will come in, they'll do the makeup once. This is why I've said before, I don't think it'll be a problem to have Robert Englund do at least Freddy 1 or 2 more times, because all he's got to do is they scan him in the computer and they just put his face digitally over another actor. Boom. He's only in a few minutes of every movie anyway.
Yeah.
So that's the future, right? They don't have to get in the makeup chair again. You don't have to worry about any of the bullshit. And in some cases, once the actor passes, they'll be able to continue to star in films after their death. Yeah. And I think that's where the money is, because nobody gives a shit about a fake brand new AI anything, because you're just creating a new character just like anything else. What they will care about is getting to see Will Smith and Jack Nicholson and Sylvester Stallone all in a movie together, right? Like that will make people interested, and it's legit, and it's completely signed off on by the estates or the actors themselves. And Will Smith can be 80 and still look like he's 22, right? Like that's what I think the key is here to a lot of this, and where a lot of these actors are going to get on board with this, because that's where the money's going to be at. That's what people are going to be interested in. Is I don't care who Tilly Norwood is. I'm with him. I don't know who this bitch is, and I don't give a shit.
Right.
Right.
You're right.
It's
happening.
Chris Pratt, I know.
Yeah, and it's happening too. What was it? Last November, 11 Labs announced that Matthew McConaughey and Michael Caine and Maya Angelou and even Alan Turing, all their voices. So they're doing this iconic voice marketplace where you can have Michael Caine read the script for your whatever your next Apple product rollout is, or so on. And it's an AI voice. They don't need Michael to come in and read it anymore. They get the script and they can direct it and get all the inflection, and they've mastered it. And we all remember the very first time somebody did that Morgan Freeman deep fake that I referenced earlier. I think that they are selling out, and it's kind of a shame to see, but do you think that the audience would say, okay, Christopher Nolan is going to direct and edit an AI created James Bond film based on the Bond or the Ian Fleming novels. So they fed the novels into
Starring Sean Connery.
or starring just a pastiche of them, right? And or they could even make it to where we'll make it to where you can use George Lazenby, Sean Connery, Pierce
As the
Brosnan.
individual viewing it, maybe, but like I agree with you. Like I see where you're coming from, and I will agree with like that. I think the future is in something like that, like having somebody like a Chris Nolan saying, "Yes, I'm going to make a James Bond movie that's just like the novels with Sean Connery." And you're not even going to realize that it's not Sean Connery in the room with the rest of the actors.
Yeah.
And not only is it going to be Sean Connery, it's going to be
off on it. Everybody that you'd be worried about all signed off on it. And it's like you can watch it if you don't. If you don't, it wasn't made for you, right? That's
right.
all.
No, it'll be gimmicky at first, kind of like Forrest Gump was.
Yep.
Like, I mean, but now we've gotten so far past that to where we're really, every time we see one of these videos, we got to ask ourselves, is this AI or is it real now?
Yeah.
Because it's getting so good.
Yeah.
But again, the only time it's going to trick us or make us interested is if we care enough about the person that we're watching. Right. The only thing that would make that interesting is actually getting to see, Taylor Sheridan make a Western with John Wayne. Right. Like something like that would be an interesting draw. At this point, who gives a shit about Tilly Norwood? What has Tilly Norwood ever done? What does it represent?
No, and
right?
I hear what you're saying about using Sean Connery, but that might be the what is the uncanny valley, because we all know Sean's dead and he didn't say those things and this wasn't him. You could take a amalgam of sort of what the ideal Bond would be, just not a Tilly Norwood, but it's some
could
Joe Schmo. I don't know.
And I get what you're saying. You just create this new amalgamized version that's like a generic James Bond.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Kind of like what they did with Jason now, the more recent Jason.
But the fear with the Tilly Norwood is more along the lines of what's happened in Japan, where they have had avatars become stars, mostly in the musical realm. Literal stars.
Yeah. People
will watch the videos with these 3D animated actresses. So could someone fashion the perfect actress that has all the physical attributes that people might like, and then the more times they're used in a production, then you get used to them and they could become a star. That is not out of the realm of possibility. I think bringing back old actors, I think is an absolute, that's going to happen. I don't think we have a choice in that. Right now, I'm listening to a series of Richard Feynman lectures, who's a mathematician physicist who I love, who very clearly described how light worked, how magnetism worked, and gravity worked. And all his recordings are scratchy old, terrible tapes.
Yeah.
And someone has taken all his text, stuck it into, I guess, 11 Labs, found a way to recreate his voice and his cadence, and now we've got his lectures extremely clear.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're not duplicating the video, they're putting up shitty animations.
Yeah.
But you just turn off the video and listen to his lectures, and now they're clear. But it's his words. The voicing is staggeringly good. They've got his cadence, the sound, his accent, the way he speaks.
Yeah.
I don't mind listening to it. I don't know if that's heretical or not.
Well, it's a reasonable facsimile, right?
Oh, it's fantastic. And it's now clear. I don't have to listen to all the scratchiness from his 1960s lectures.
And that will continue to improve.
Yeah.
It's gotten so bad now. I don't know if you guys saw this, and this is not really entertainment related, but there was a scam that happened in Singapore, I think last year, about a year ago, where it was a big company and the scammers created multiple deep fakes of the CFO and other members on a Zoom call, sent out a Zoom call invitation, and told the CFO, hey, we got an urgent situation. I need you to wire 400, like almost $500,000 worth of currency. And they stole what amounted to about $499,000 out of this company because the deep fakes were so good. And it's
I think that's
go ahead.
I
Well, it's
was
only
gonna
getting
say,
better.
that's the place where I think things are going to really come to a head first, is going to be through fraud and
Oh yeah.
con artists and scam artists and stuff like that. Because I mean, especially with like the elderly and other folks, they're going to be targeted
Yes.
first.
Oh,
So
A
that's the
number
thing
you don't
that I think we're not.
recognize. They do it from a payphone. Hey, honey, quick, you got to come. You got to help. Click. And it's
Well, we're already getting this. I guess this is something I heard on the news the other day where they're already warning folks that, to double check if you get like an emergency phone call from a family member claiming they need something, because they can even AI fake that now. So yeah. Anyway, Sadie's barking. Hang.
go ahead. And you don't need much. All you need, like, just a few seconds, 20 seconds or so of somebody's voice, and you can fake it.
Yeah, it's what we've been saying in a couple of commercials. Criminals have evolved. They don't rob banks anymore. That's from the way distant past, unfortunately.
That's Bush League. Man.
Because it makes you all, including all of us, the new target of crime. So yeah. Any final words on this before we revisit the super chats from the audience? Are you all excited for the AI future? Better or worse?
I'm excited about an AI version of myself, so I don't have to do this stupid show anymore.
Well,
Well,
we're
be
working on
careful with
that.
what you wish for.
We're working on it. Trust me. We've already thought about that into the future, because we know with your habits, you're not going to last much longer anyway.
No.
So
No, I'm easily copied.
yeah, I mean, you and the cocaine are going to end yourself at some point here.
That's right.
I'm actually reminded of like a skit from Douglas Adams in an old Dilbert strip, where you had Dogbert, like the horrible boss, right, who's telling some employee that it's not company policy to kill employees and replace them with doubles, but just so you know, it can be done. And I think that is more relevant going forward in many, many different positions.
Well, I think if the schools
Maybe not the literal killing part, but the replacing with a double.
I think if the schools keep graduating highly politicized activists, one of the motivations for companies replacing people in the companies with AI is to just not have to deal with that bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could have a Rachel Ziegler version of Rachel Ziegler that's actually MAGA, if populism comes to Hollywood eventually, right?
Well, that's going to be very problematic for poor Rachel Ziegler.
I like Pratt, and I hope he keeps getting good gigs so he can keep speaking this way, when asked.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with him. He never says anything out of place.
He did say he wanted to play Punisher 2099, which any of our Marvel Comics fans may know.
Yeah, I know he said he was a fan of the Punisher comics. I didn't know that he said that he
would love to play the 2099 version. So,
okay. Yeah.
I mean, I think we should listen to the rest of what Chris has to say here, because unlike the actual media, they just want to highlight, the part where he called her a bitch. Or it a bitch. Let's be real. This is not a person, right? It's an AI device, or whatever you want to call her creation. Yeah. So he actually goes on to have a little bit more to say here for about a minute. So I'm just going to let this play out so you guys can hear the rest of it, because it's pretty much a lot of what we're saying, too.
I think it's an amazing tool, and in the right hands could really help people to tell stories. It's inevitably going to disrupt the industry. We're in the midst of an intellectual revolution. We are not the first or last industry to be disrupted by AI. And I think we just keep trucking forward. Great filmmakers are going to make great films, and they're going to probably implement these tools if it helps streamline production, if it helps bring the cost of production down. It's inevitable. And I don't think you're going to replace the human soul of a director or a writer or an actor or a singer or any of this stuff that requires human yearning and suffering and vision and art. Just soul-to-soul connection when you're watching a movie. You might not be able to put your finger on what you're digesting the way you can by saying, oh, my eyes are seeing this, my ears are hearing this. Our hearts also connect to material, and we might not fully comprehend that sense, but it's there. And in the absence of a true connection there, it's just not going to feel right. It's not going to feel good. We're going to be missing something. We might not be able to fully articulate what we're missing, but I think it's the human soul. And so I think that's gives me comfort.
There you go. So I thought it would be poignant just to hear the rest of what he had to say. I don't know what else he's going to ask him there, but it's not important at this moment in time. What is important is you guys sent us some super chats. So let's see what y'all said. Dark King 616 sends in 2 Australian dollary dues to say, if wokeism is a cult, then Star Trek Academy is Jonestown. Ouch.
Bring on the Kool-Aid.
Yeah, do not drink that Kool-Aid. Jason Webster says, memo, Students Starfleet Academy has relocated due to budgetary constraints to Uranus. Contact Student Services for information. Have a nice day. And then Wild Zephyr has been a member for 37 freaking months. It's a long-ass time. Says, in the far-off future, shouldn't obesity be completely cured? Shouldn't no one need to be fat? Yeah, there's a lot of things that would be cured by then. Like
maybe in the future they find out that fat is actually better.
Yeah, well, you don't have the lifespans don't really support that. But I submit to you this: they don't view it as a condition one needs to be cured from. No, they view it as an identity and as a choice. So there you have the activists, the Jonestown people of the future. They're like, I'm going to be obese because that's a statement, and I identify as obese. So I'm going to really work hard to get there so I can be who I identify as. I mean, that's obviously the thing. I mean, they shouldn't have all of these neurodivergent people working there either. It's Starfleet. It's supposed to be the best of the best. But instead it's the dumping ground of all kinds of just imagine any kind of neurological disorder. You probably have it right there. I'm sure the pilot is going to have Tourette's or something like that.
One of the students is in a wheelchair. Did you see that, Andre? One of the students is in a wheelchair.
Yeah, that was something we made fun of in the first original show.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry.
But I'm sure that those people, they can probably walk up anytime that they want, but they identify this way. It's their identity. I mean, because you have to validate, you have to reflect what the real world looks like, right? And as real world, you have people, more and more people, as they're told it's cool to be neurodivergent. And you have the social contagion aspect. They need to see themselves on screen. And that's why you have these holograms and stuff like that being weird and awkward and showing various cluster A personality type disorders, because that's cool, so people can see themselves.
I do hope you also saw the deaf, I can't remember the alien race, but he was deaf, so they're all sign languaging to one another.
They weren't the race was deaf, because the leader was.
The leader was, but the race communicates telepathically. Why would you ever use sign language?
And was it American Sign Language that he was using?
Oh,
probably.
Good point.
See, and this gets me to my point I was going to make with
sign language.
And that's the problem with this show from the start. And this is where it's like, I feel like, I don't remember what movie it's from, but the James Franco meme where he's like, first time, where he's about to get hung. And he's, like, that's where it feels like with this, because we've been dealing with this shit now for almost 10 years. Right? Like, this is, to me, is like old hat. It's like you just finally got to the party. Like, this is the same show that decided to stop everything to go, I want to be noticed by my pronouns, right? This is the same show that decided to use sonar in fucking space, right? Like, this has gotten to just retardation levels beyond retardation levels, because they don't even think about the fact that part of the unique fun of Star Trek was it's almost like kind of like what the Jetsons was making fun of, right? The reverse of the Flintstones. What kind of fun can we have with the future? Well, if you're going to have a wheelchair, if you're actually not going to have, I don't know, a surgery that could fix somebody who is, quadriplegic or paraplegic, then if you would have a wheelchair, it would be like a hovering, floating wheelchair. It'd be futuristic. It wouldn't just be a run-of-the-mill fucking wheelchair. And that's what they have. You
Yeah.
do realize how much of a problem that would be if, oh, I don't know, the ship were to get hit all of a sudden and everything goes like this. That motherfucker's going flying.
It's got hubcaps though, so it's different.
You know, we can
They
cure
don't. They're
deafness.
just trying to make it. They're stupid. Their
Stupid.
inability to get past their own wokeness,
It's just stupid.
destroying the show.
In deference to them, they are consistent with their vision of what represents utopia to
Mhm.
them.
Okay.
Okay,
That's what I'm getting. Yeah.
it is consistent. We might complain about the lack of futurism. I complained in a recent X post that, and I didn't put it in my video, and I should have. I thought the mere fact that they had the soul of what's her name, Holly Hunter's character, while she was curled up in the captain's chair, notwithstanding that bit of weirdness, but her soul was a modern soul. And I was thinking that if it was TOS, they probably would have spent time thinking about what kind of pattern, what kind of material would they have come up with in the 32nd century for that soul. I mean, if it was a solid piece of what looked like metal, aluminum or something that had no tread whatsoever, but yet worked, that had some kind of grippy property, then I would believe it. But no, they spent no time even working out the small details of what the possibilities were. But we've talked about the fact that Kurtzman has no interest in science. They had that guy who ostensibly could turn into an alien. His head got covered in some kind of blue creature lizard thing, and he was walking out on the surface of the ship to try to get rid of the creep that was covering the ship. And I'm thinking, okay, he's communicating. He doesn't have a spacesuit. Fine. This creature is able to withstand some airless, cold, outer space conditions for
Which
a period of
creature
time.
was this again?
Pardon me, what?
Which creature was this again?
It was,
Which
it was the kind of the bully, good-looking guy who then put on the purple. He revealed himself to be an alien,
Okay.
and then he walked out onto the ship's surface, but he didn't have a suit on. They're communicating with him over radio or whatever communication device they're using. How did he do it? There's no air. Like, was he using mental mind melding waves to speak to the people who were in the ship? So, and it reminded me of the fire that the Acolyte put out. These people don't have any fucking clue how space and vacuum
No, of
works.
course not. They have
Well,
no clue. They don't.
And
want
Andre,
to. Yeah.
you made this point in the video we dropped yesterday, and this is the thing that we keep forgetting to remind ourselves. These people don't like this shit, right? They
No,
think it's
true.
stupid. They think it's nerdy. They look down upon it because you brought
Yes.
you brought in that video about, and actually Grace Randolph was the one who made this point, actually, that you had like people like Amy Poehler that were looking down on, I can't remember who she was interviewing and talking about Andor, right? It's like, well, that is part of the problem. There's still that stigma there that Star Trek, Star Wars, Doctor Who, all these nerdy things, these niche nerdy, franchises are just that. And to them, they're making them cool. They're making them better, more accessible to the. This is why we've been saying, get the fuck out of our goddamn groups. We need more gatekeeping. I've said this for years, and people are like, well, no, gatekeepers are bad. I'm like, no, they're good. They keep out the garbage. Okay. Yes, sometimes you're going to get some people that are going to be jerks about it. Don't get me wrong. But at the end of the day, what you're keeping out is the fake fucking fans.
Yep.
The fake fucks who want to just use it and exploit it. And that's what these last decade has been of entertainment. All these things that we used to love and were these niche things have now been exploited to the point where, we talked about selling out earlier. That's really what's happened to these franchises at the end of the day. And Star Trek is not Star Wars. That's the first mistake everybody's making it from the top to the bottom.
That was J.J. Abrams' mistake.
Exactly.
First and foremost. Yeah.
Star Wars and Star Trek are two completely different things. And the only thing that makes them similar is that they've got a sci-fi flavor to them. One is sci-fantasy, though, and one is science fiction. One is a reflection of today's society. The other one is a reflection of classic serials. They have very little in common. But to these idiots, they're the same fucking thing. Right? Our favorite story here is, and I've heard it enough times that I'm pretty sure it's true, that after Les Moonves walked out of Star Wars The Force Awakens, he says, and I quote, "Where's our check for this one?" Because he thought they owned Star Wars. He didn't differentiate between the two in his head. This is the head of CBS/Paramount at the time. Going,
The
"Where's
same
our
guy-
check for this one?"
The same guy who basically gave us Kurtzman. Yeah. And
So,
to
yes.
add to that, yeah, I just want to clarify because, yeah, this is the problem. It's not, I wouldn't say the problem isn't that you have like fakers among the fans, is that you have the Kathleen Kennedys who are actively trying to recruit people who aren't fans and who never ever will be fans because they fundamentally do not care about this niche, and to try to convert them into fans.
And
it's
that's
the
why I
most
don't.
stupid, inane business decision ever, and I'm shocked anyone would try to do it.
And that's why I don't think Dave Filoni's short for this world, Paul. You brought it up earlier. I think that he is exactly what they are looking for. He will do exactly what Kathy wants, and he will do exactly what Bob wants. We got to remember that what Kathy and Bob wanted for the longest time were simpatico or whatever you want, synergistic. Like, they wanted the same thing for some dumb fucking reason. And I don't think any of that's going to change. I think Filoni is being brought in on behalf of both. That was always going to be the plan.
Well,
He just
to
needed to be.
clarify-
Go ahead.
So I didn't mean to cut. I just want to I think this is an important point. They both wanted the same thing. Bob Iger and Kathleen Kennedy, they wanted the same thing. And Kennedy made it. Then Iger changed his mind when he saw that it wasn't working. Make no mistake about it. What Kathleen Kennedy made is what he wanted the whole time as well. It
Yeah,
just
I'm
didn't
not even going
work.
to blame JJ for it. I've seen some people try to blame JJ. It's like, no, if anything,
No, not
he
at
was
all.
trying to work within the box he was given. Now, as I've said a million times over, I think he should have been allowed to do the entire trilogy. It's his own fault, though. He said he didn't want to do the second one. He fucked it up on that behalf. But the rest of it was their choice to do this. He gave them an outline to go from there with this story, and he was working within the parameters they gave him. Right? Like, that's the thing people need to understand with The Force Awakens. It was exactly what they wanted. It was exactly what they asked for. They wanted something that felt like Star Wars, but introduced these new characters and didn't rely on the original anymore. And that's basically what The Force Awakens had set up. And we have Paulie joining us. Good morning, Paulie, with the
Hey,
hat.
Paulie.
Good morning, and I'm first of all, apologies for coming in so late. Honestly,
Apologies?
I wasn't even planning on coming on, but I got to. The first thing I'd like to say to the audience, to the Midnighters, is it is such a joy to hear you guys. I mean, this first hour, you guys were just really killing it, man, and I was like, nah, because my whole morning changed because I had a family thing, but then it got postponed. So I was here and I was like, fuck, these guys are breaking it down, man. Great job, guys.
Well,
You know,
thank you.
I'm honestly a fan first of you guys. And I just wanted to say that because I don't think you guys get enough praise. Not you, Chato, Andre and Tom. Andre and Tom, man, these guys are not only they're the OGs, but you guys are still just keeping it real and ahead of the game. So I just wanted to say that. I love you guys as well. Listen,
Cheers.
I got a couple things on Ziegler and AI. I wanted to add to that. If you wanted to, but I know you guys are knee deep in Star Trek, so I could wait.
I do want to
Um,
say one thing about Trek.
Yes, sir.
We knew
I say
this
we
was-
can wrap that up. Yeah.
we knew this
Yeah.
wasn't something to be taken seriously when Stacey Abrams was bequeathed president of the world. I mean, you knew right then, okay, all right. You know, you can deal with the retconning of Spock and all the different characterizations and the cussing in every scene and just talking back to your superior officers and on and on and on. It's like, okay, well, I guess this is what JJ has wrought with the way he treated the franchise, and Kurtzman just took it up to 11. But then now it's not even scientific. No, the future would not have people in wheelchairs. I'm sorry. The future would not have deaf people. And if they were deaf and had telepathy, they wouldn't use ASL. Okay. So the ridiculousness is now off the charts, fully exposed for everyone to see. I'm still, despite Paul's disagreement on it, I'm beginning to think that the idea to put this episode 1 on YouTube was to foil Kurtzman getting a second season. I think,
Yeah.
That's what
I
I'm
don't
thinking.
Well,
No.
we'll see. We'll see.
Andre did bring up that possibility. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Paul.
I agree. So that's where I stand. I'd do a $1 wager if anybody wants to, but we'll never know the truth. So
Looked like Paul, you were going to say something there, but
I just wanted to tell you that because the show is shot in Toronto, when Abrams showed up on the set, the cast applauded and wept. But that's because she was tilting the entire
that's right.
studio.
Yeah, I heard the same thing. Yeah,
Sorry, that was a fat joke.
yeah, that was
No,
the
they
Discovery episode.
were, speaking of hiring people of like minds, they were weeping and just filled with such joy when Stacey Abrams showed up.
And probably were more emotional about that than if William Shatner himself had showed up on set. That's or Gene Roddenberry or something like that.
Yeah.
That's where we're at. So
No, I
well-
think you're right, because they're not nerds. They're not really
No.
nerds.
no.
well, and the funny thing is a lot of the people that we love were on board with a lot of this stuff. Like I remember talking to Nicholas Myers, and he didn't seem to have a problem with a lot of this stuff. The thing that I caught him in a corner on, and it's funny you brought it up, was the colorful metaphors. I actually asked him because I kept trying to think, because he was so standoffish with me in a lot of ways, but he gave us the interview at the same time. So it's like, okay, what is going on here with him? We were trying to figure it out. And I finally got him into a corner, and that's what I asked him. I'm like, how do you basically justify all the colorful metaphors in Star Trek Discovery when it's made very clear in a film that you wrote, Star Trek 4, that by that time, colorful metaphors are no longer part of the vernacular? And he's like, basically, I don't have an answer for you, was his answer. Like, that was the only time I had him tied up, because that man was one of the most intelligent, standoffish people, and he was the most intimidating of all the people I ever interviewed.
He
So,
got pushed off of Discovery.
He did, and that was kind of why we think he did the interview with us. But he would not give us any of the tea.
Yeah.
So we think he was under NDA still, and he kind of flat out said he wasn't going to give us a
Or-
lot of
or
the
good for him.
salacious stuff.
Or good
So,
for
yeah.
him for not gossiping.
Yeah, no, he
True.
was obvious, but that's obviously the reason why he spoke.
But he
to
was
us,
playing a
because-
game with me, basically, is what I was getting at. Is he was dancing with me, saying, like, if you want the answers, you're going to have to ask me the right questions, more or less. He was just a very, like, so again, but he was one of the people I had to cut a bunch of shit out of,
Of
because
course. Yeah, that
they're
is classic.
stuck in this mindset, and that was what I was getting to. So that's what I was saying, is I'm not so sure he was against some of the other stuff they were in there. And I don't know if they're out there or not, but I know me and a few other people have read the original screen scripts and stuff for the few episodes that did get written before Brian Fuller was exited. There was still some of these problems present, guys. But the thing is, and this is why I keep reminding people, is they brought Kurtzman in to do exactly what I was saying before. So to them, he's doing what they want, right? What we see as a bug, they see as a perk, or as a function, right? Like, he is trying to make this into what's like Star Trek Academy is basically the penultimate end of what he's been trying to get to. He's been trying to make Star Trek into this CW fucking show, basically. Like, Script Doctor was here, he would remind you that a lot of these guys were raised on Buffy. right? Like that's the shit that made them, get into this game, and that's the kind of show they're trying to recreate over and over and over again.
Josh
don't get-
Whedon is talented. These people are not. That's the thing.
That's the difference,
Yeah.
right? They're trying to copy and mimic, and that's funny because that's what J.J. Abrams basically is, right? His whole
Right.
claim to fame is basically being the Temu version of fucking Spielberg, right? Let's
Yeah.
be real,
Right.
with more lens flare. Like,
Yeah. And
But at
now
the end of the
Kurtzman
day-
is Timu Whedon or whoever's writing the show. Right.
Kurtzman was kind of hands off on Discovery.
Mhm.
He was more of a backroom individual. It was Paradis who was really running things. Michelle Paradis.
Yeah.
I thought it was Berg and what's
No,
his face?
Michelle Paradis was one who was really cracking.
Well, I know
the
she
whip.
was one of them, but
Yeah, there's been so many. It was a revolving door of showrunners,
Because
executives. They
that was the
replaced each
thing-
other for every season.
it almost looks like Kurtzman has it out for Brian Fuller, but if you actually go through the timeline, and this is the one question I got through Robert Meyer Burnett to Brian Fuller, because we could never put one thing together, and that is when Netflix got involved and when Kurtzman got involved and when things shifted. Because the whole reason Fuller was fired, for those who may not remember and may not have seen our video, was because Moonves couldn't understand why the show was costing so much money. And he would try to explain that you have to spend all this money up front to build the sets, make the costumes, do all that kind of stuff, and then you amortize that over the next few seasons and different shows, right? Like that's what he was trying to explain, was that Star Trek The Next Generation was built off the movies, which then built Voyager and Deep Space Nine. They used all those things over and over and over and over again, and that's how they were more cost effective. But Moonves didn't understand that, so they fired Fuller, and then Tyrion Bergs and what's-her-face was running things. Then Kurtzman comes in. And then all of a sudden, they're spending 3 times as much as they were when Fuller was involved. So I think at some point, Netflix got involved there, and that's when they decided we're going to spend the Netflix money, or Kurtzman brought Netflix with him. That's the part I can't put to place in the whole timeline of what happened there. But then the same thing kind of happened again to Fuller when it came to Hannibal. Even though they never connected, he was wanting to do Silence of the Lambs as the next, logical extension of his Hannibal series, Brian Fuller was. But then Kurtzman came in and swooped up the rights to Clarice through Silence of the Lambs. And for those who don't know, go check out a video we did years ago about the whole rights issues with Silence of the Lambs and Red Dragon and Hannibal and all that kind of business, which it is a fucking mess. Right. And that's because of when characters were created in what books and who owns what books. Right. That's a problem there. So that's part of the issue. So with that little loophole, they got a hold of Clarice, but they couldn't use Hannibal or certain other characters that were created in the Red Dragon book. So that's why that show, besides the fact that it was made by Kurtzman, tanked. Right. So again, so people are
Another
like, well,
Hannibal
they're-
Lecter show without Hannibal Lecter, basically.
And then but Peacock turns around and does the same exact thing to Brian Fuller again with the Friday the 13th show. Now, I don't know if you guys know that. He went and built a set, had all the... I even got the scripts. I've read the first script. It was actually pretty fucking good. I have no idea what they're going to come up with now, but they had a whole set built they're not going to use and all this other shit. They fired him and brought in a whole new crew because they, quote-unquote, couldn't understand why the show was costing so much. And he's like, well, we got to build a set, you got to have a camp. You got to have, they built like half a town, I guess,
Wow.
up in Canada.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what the hell, but yeah. So they
Taking up
decided
most
at the
of
last minute to
Pinewood.
shit can it. What'd you say, Andre?
Yeah, taking up most of Pinewood.
Yeah, it was taking up Pine. And then they just decided not to do it because it was costing too much money because they couldn't understand or conceive how a Friday the 13th show wasn't cheap. They're like, shouldn't it just be a bunch of kids in the woods? It's like, you guys don't even really know what you're making, do you? And that kind of takes me back to my initial point with Moonves, is like, even if the story isn't true about the whole Star Wars, Star Trek thing, because it is a little, it's more or less probably a wishful thinking. If it's not true, it should be kind of joke or whatever you want to call it. At the end of the day, these people still hated these things they were making. And they hired these people because they wanted to change those things. This was the ultimate goal from the start, right? They're trying to make it more hip. They're trying to make it more modern instead of leaning into what made it popular to begin with.
Yeah.
That being said, let's keep moving because we got one more story to cover today. We got Miller, who says an in-house red carpet event as well, and then talk about the Star Trek thing.
Yeah.
I've heard that the meeting starts the process of cleaning out everyone from John Van Citters down, and we could see Kurtzman humiliated for the sake of it publicly.
Well, we
I
should
doubt
keep
it.
that in mind. I doubt
We'll
it,
see.
but we shall see.
Yeah, we'll see.
I do believe that part of the reason they put this out there and they're leaving the comments open and stuff, because you guys are right, is this is kind of a test canary of sorts.
Yeah.
And the more we're hearing about the second season thing, is it's barely a second season. It's like a couple episodes, is what it sounds like. Or more
Thank
or less like
God.
a movie. Yeah. Grimzilla says, can we just admit Spielberg is a has-been now and that used to make the best movies ever? Seriously, when was his last hit? Over a decade ago?
Well, he's allowed to retire and relax in his old age. But yeah.
This is kind of what Tarantino's talking about, though, isn't it? In a way, this is why he wants to retire after his next film or two or whatever it is,
Right.
whenever his 10th movie is. Because he doesn't want to
Probably.
become this old, out-of-touch director who just keeps making movies to survive or become to stay relevant. And yeah, no, Spielberg has not been Spielberg since, I'd say his last good movie was Catch Me If You Can.
I liked Fablemans, but as a small,
You liked that piece of shit?
Well, I can't. I like anything with Lynch in it, so I'm sorry.
Oh my God, I was so pissed after the Fablemans. I'm like, this just showed me how bad of a mother Steven Spielberg had, and she was so bad that she's still poisoning his mind after all these years. Because this movie that was supposed to be a quasi biopic about him was all about his fucking mother.
Yeah, well, that's true. Good point.
Oh, it was horrible. It was fucking wretched. I
But
was
he's
so
sev-
mad after that movie.
He's 79 now. Let's
Yeah.
cut him some slack.
I didn't like the part where he joined ISIS.
And then joined ICE after that.
That's even worse, according
I know.
to
That's what I mean.
Talk about a 180, right?
Yeah. Goodness.
No. I mean, he'll always be Steven Spielberg. Like, there's that. Can't take that away from him unless something horrible comes out about him between now and whenever. Will he ever make a good movie again? I don't know. What do you
Don't
guys
look into
think?
that poltergeist stuff very much. Don't go there.
every creative person has got a window of creativity that matches their vision with what the audience is also looking for. Often that is the biggest lucky part, that sometimes you have a person who has great vision, but the audience at that particular time isn't in sync with that.
Yeah.
Spielberg, maybe more than anybody, was able to meet that expectation and do a lot of good stuff over a long period of time. I was never happy with his sci-fi stuff. And I will go to the grave to say Close Encounter of the Third Kind was not sci-fi. To me, that was family adventure. And
E.T. even more so.
pardon me?
E.T. even more so.
E.T.,
They're
yeah.
both basically Disney movies. I see where Paul's coming from.
And
The Close Encounters of the First Kind was sci-fi. The Third Kind was
yeah, that's
Yeah.
the third sequel. But Minority Report was horrible for me as a sci-fi nut. Like I couldn't stand that film. So
I
you didn't like AI,
You didn't like War of the Worlds?
didn't like AI.
War of the Worlds.
You know what's funny is those last three you just mentioned are like the least Spielberg of the Spielberg films, and that's where I feel like he made his turn.
We had Munich. We had what was the
See,
Bridge
none of those are
Spies?
like Spielberg movies as
Yeah,
far as I'm
but-
concerned.
Also, Munich was 20 years ago.
Didn't
More.
do Bridge of Spies.
He's got a new movie coming out.
Again,
and,
Bridge of Spies was like
uh,
15, yeah.
No,
Yeah.
Bridge of Spies is like 5-10 years ago.
His-
What was the other one? West Side Story.
And none of those scream Spielberg to me. That's the problem, right? Like when I think of Spielberg, I think of Jaws, E.T., Close Encounters. You know the things that
Richard
you know.
Spice was 11 years ago.
Yeah, I knew that. I was
Wow.
close. I was right,
Yeah.
close to being right.
Yeah.
See, as I
You know
was
what?
saying, he has not made a viable film. Like his last movie that I think got any real notice besides Bridge of Spies was the Lincoln film, and I think that's going on 20 years now.
It
Oh,
is.
His body
I
of
love
work
that
is
link.
so substantial. No one should
Right.
be listening. to him.
No,
Well,
but
that's the thing is he'll always go down as the greatest director of all time at this point, unless there's somebody between now and the next 50 years who manages to do what Steven Spielberg did. And guess what? Nobody's going to be able to do what Steven Spielberg did. Everybody
He
tried.
can't. What you're saying is he can't.
He can't even do it
Right,
anymore.
right.
No.
But we're talking about Spielberg, so it's still, you're still going
Yeah.
to get entertained for the most part.
well, he's like
Yeah,
John.
I agree with Paulie.
Sure. He's got that Disclosure Day movie with Emily Blunt coming out. He's going to try to return to science fiction. Hopefully, it won't be a Disney version. We'll
Yeah,
see.
but he's gone against his sci-fi shit for so long because he even said before War of the Worlds he'd never make another Alien movie again, and if he did, he'd never make one where the aliens were the bad guys. And then he turned right around and made War of the Worlds.
How was that? I never saw his War of the Worlds.
It sucks. It's not
Okay.
that great.
No, it doesn't.
Better than
suck.
the Ice Cube version.
Well,
Oh, by far.
Oh, that's a great segue because that's part of the Razzies. for
Okay,
this
well,
year.
yeah.
Okay.
So, but anyway, you wanted to talk about Rachel Zegler, which,
yes.
speaking of Spielberg, there is a connection there
yes,
because her big start was in West Side Story, so we can blame
Right.
Spielberg for her. And you
Yes.
wanted to talk a little bit real quick about her, so let's
Yeah,
give you the floor.
well, listen, it's just to add on to what everyone was saying here in regards to hiring someone like her. Was it a DEI initiative? 100%. 100%. Okay, listen, the final two actors, if you don't mind, I'm putting up banners down, Andre. The final two actors were Latina actresses, right? Rachel Zegler and this woman from Mexico called her name was Renata Vaca. I had the popular actress and singer million times more charismatic, likable, lovable, awesome than Rachel Zegler on our red carpet. In fact, we'll toot our own horn for a second here. Let me share an image. Let me share the screen. And I've documented this before, in regards to I can't do it on here. All right, I had a picture of her on the red carpet. I interviewed her, talked about her. It was down to her. It was down to her and Ziegler, and of course they went with Ziegler, which was a massive mistake. Because there's no way around it. It's a terrible film.
Yeah.
But at least I think when someone's likable, you kind of and they're not spewing agenda and all that stuff. You're gonna give the benefit of the doubt in cases, but that even that you can argue. So that was one point I wanted to bring up. I believe the third choice was a Afro Latina Caribbean actress. So you guys are dead on, and they're all talented.
Sure.
But here's a problem with Ziegler and Snow White, among many problems. She's got no prospects now.
Yeah.
And, we're talking about when, everyone's hiring activists. I think that is slowly turning around. The worst thing that actors and productions hate is what? Being made fun of. And Snow White has received 6 nominations, 46 annual Golden Raspberry Awards, including Worst Picture. And just like I had been telling people all year, listen, Ziegler at the end of 25 and now 26, she's going to get in the news again because of all the worst movies of the year. She's up there with War of the Worlds now. This is not.
but she was in that?
No. What I'm
no,
saying
no.
is that
Yeah.
it's
Oh, right,
War of the
okay,
Worlds. They're competing now for the worst crap movie of last year.
Yeah, I see.
Right. That's I'm trying to lay this argument. I think you guys are all with me in that her prospects now is a film that's gotten no funding, an independent film. She gets it from me. Will play the daughter of a pill-popping ex-punk rocker she gets it from me as an independent movie with Marissa Tomei. No funding. I think they're going to start filming it. And then she's going to do a limited week engagement of a play in March in the UK. All right. This is not what you would expect if you sign on board to be the Disney princess of the lead of a Disney film. This should be the opposite, right?
Pauly, not to
Yeah.
mention, let's not forget in 2024, she beat out Tom Cruise, Keanu Reeves, and Jason Momoa as the action star of the year for her Hunger Games movie. So
Yeah,
this
I think
is,
she-
quite a fall.
I think she ran really well in that movie
She did.
with her guitar. But yeah, so specific filming dates of that independent film have not been finalized. This marks Ziegler's primary project following Disney Snow White. This is a catastrophic cautionary tale, guys, that she was so political, so outspoken, that she, vilified half the Disney audience before the movie came out. She has got no prospects at all.
Yeah.
That is death to actors. So, and to where now she's doing nothing. She's posting
a
on
cautionary
Instagram.
tale. She's a cautionary tale. She's like Icarus flying too close to the woke, but not even that. I mean, just to your point about the Disney fans, she didn't even have to be woke when she was pissing off Disney Snow White fans, saying, "Oh, it's not going to be this, it's not going to be that. We're not going to. That's all dated. We're not doing that old story. We're doing a new version of Snow White." But what you said when you mentioned that the last 2 or 3 actresses were all Latino, or no, the last 2
finalists, right?
That, in addition, that's sort of a nice bookend to the Peter Dinklage story about this project, right? Because that tells you that the decision was made from the top. We don't care who the actress is as long as she's not some white girl. We want her to be a Latino because we are making a statement with this movie. We're going to make a statement, and that's why Peter Dinklage was able to make them, go back on their heels, because, oh gosh, we don't want our Snow White cut off the 7 dwarves in the title. This is not a lecture, but we're gonna make some major corrections to humanity and how they feel about minority persons, and we can't have this. Peter Dinklage is right. We've got to make this right. This has got to be the perfect DEI movie in every regard. We don't care. And Rachel Ziegler, it doesn't matter. She's got the Spielberg bona fide. She's got the credentials to be here. This is going to be great. We're going to be great. And we will reset 75 years of terrible history in Disney with this new movie.
Yeah. I mean, we're kind of like, doing just really sticking the sword in, but there were so many problems with that film, right? So many problems, and Ziegler did not help one bit.
The primary problem with the film, and it showed how badly Disney was in disarray, is that it was supposed to be, I'm assuming, the anniversary film. That's the film that got Disney off the ground, out of debt, moved them forward. They diminished the film and its importance as time progressed. That film needed to be out. I can't remember when the anniversary was. I did a video on
2 years ago.
I think you're right. I think it missed the anniversary by a few months.
That's because it kept being reshot, Tom.
Yeah.
It would have been ready.
But it would have been ready. They couldn't get their act together and make it their tentpole movie, apart from that other animation that they were talking about.
Wish was the other one,
right. That just showed the utter incompetence and the amount of promotion, the amount of energy and excitement surrounding whatever the 100th anniversary, whatever. I think it was the 100th anniversary.
It was 1937 was the first one. So I
no,
think
we're talking about Disney. It was
Disney.
Wish was a company, and they didn't have the movies ready, or they were crap. And they buried Walt. They didn't want to do any specials around Walt. What a terrible year. I mean, that 100th anniversary, more than anything, showed how Disney had lost it.
Well,
and this
I just wanted to say on that point real quick before you move to your last point, Paulie, is like, I don't have an issue with Hollywood looking for a specific actor, right? Because that's what Hollywood always has done. But the difference here between this and, say, like the Karate Kid, right? For Karate Kid Legends, they flat out said they were looking for an Asian kid from the start. Well, once you see the movie, you can understand why. On the other hand, with Rachel Zegler playing Snow White, it makes no sense. It's basically they were going into it saying we want a no white, basically, and that was why we were making fun of it, right? Like that was the point. It wasn't because they were looking for the best actress or they were looking to diversify it in a sense of just they were trying to make it non-white. But anyway, your point. Go ahead.
No, my last point, and this is a huge cautionary tale for working actors that are making it big, right? Is you don't bite the hand that feeds you. And that's what she did, because the producers asked her, take down that Palestine shit. We're promoting a film. Are you fucking kidding me? We're like months, like less than a month away from this getting released, and you're still doing this horseshit, right? The producers flew over to New York to meet with her. This, that. No, I'm gonna leave it up. She's paying now.
Oh yeah.
I think
Yeah.
she's very talented. That's besides the point. But she's paying now. You're not seeing her in any of the award shows. You're not hearing about her being in any productions. Why? Because no producers are gonna hire her anymore. There's being woke, and then there's being fucking stupid with the people that hire you.
Insufferable.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? They're saying, and you ain't Tom Cruise, you ain't Bruce Willis, you ain't, you know what I'm saying?
You might have beat them for the Action Star Award, but you ain't them. No.
Right. So that's the cautionary tale on the Ziegler, and that's the last thing I wanted to say.
Sorry, Miss Ziegler.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for that, Paulie. And
Sure, man.
let's get back into
It's our
Super Chat.
Latino slant moment for the show.
It was. Flying Blind and Rocket Cycle's been here for 15 months. Thank you for that and being a member. And he also says with $1.99, hi, all. Well, hi, Flying Blind. How's that Rocket Cycle doing? We got C-Man, who says it all comes down to one word, cowardice. Producers and studios must push back on out of control activism. And I think Paulie was kind of getting to that. I think they are kind of like, even what was the most recent awards, the Golden Globes or whatever it was?
Golden Globes.
Golden Globes, yeah.
Even though they were saying shit on the carpet, from what I could tell as far as the show itself, it seemed like there was a memo put out to keep the politicalization down to a minimum.
Although
It's,
congratulations to Amy Poehler for winning the inaugural award for Best Podcast over
Yeah, that
nominated Joe Rogan. Yeah.
that was definitely the Jethro Tull moment of the night. That's for sure.
Yes, for heavy metal. Best heavy metal.
Yes.
Yeah.
And for those who don't get the reference, that was from back in the day. The first time they gave out the Best Heavy Metal Award for the Grammys, it was awarded to Jethro Tull. And mind you, I think this was the same exact year that Metallica put out the Black Album, if I'm not mistaken.
I think Metallica was actually nominated that year.
They were, and that was everybody's going, why didn't Metallica not win?
So your name is heavy metal. Okay, yeah, that's just
Well, that
Yeah.
wasn't as bad as when for the best rap, Paul Anka won.
Oh, come on.
That,
That was on point. That album was tight.
yeah. that
Well, we all
was
know
more
Paul
egregious.
Anka had the better rap album that year.
The Ebonics on Chris is amazing.
That was better than Ice Cube's War of the Words.
Oh,
I don't think any rapper has sampled "Having My Baby" yet.
You know,
you'd be surprised.
Maybe.
You know, you and Chato,
I think.
you and Chato are fat, yo.
PHAT.
Good fat. I'm really offended by how the ghetto community has changed good white words and flipped them around. Remember when bad was bad? Now
Yeah.
it's good. Like, come on, man.
I
No,
blame
bad is
Mike
bad
Jackson.
again, Paul.
Yeah,
Is it bad now again? I
think
can't
so.
keep track. I can't keep
Wicked.
track.
Yeah.
Wicked became good.
Yeah. Wicked's now
It
good.
is. Wicked
Yeah.
for good. Yep.
Yeah. John Apocalypse says, agree with Tom on Snow White. Look at Pinocchio. Yeah. Well, a lot of people didn't look at Pinocchio. That's
Well,
the
they
thing.
deep six that.
Well, that was nightmare fuel. Speaking of
People forget Robert
Cynthia,
Zemeckis directed that too, on top of it all.
and
and
that starred Cynthia as the Blue
Yes.
Fairy. Yeah.
as the lesbian fairy godmother.
Speaking of Wicked, yeah.
Wow. Everybody's on point today.
She looked scary in that too.
That was
I thought
frightening.
it was the horror movie version of
like the Winnie the Pooh one.
Yes.
Where they did a
wow.
horror version of Pinocchio.
Mm.
Well, they actually already did a horror version of Pinocchio years ago, but yeah.
Well, it is Guillermo del Toro.
Well, his is a little horrific in some.
Well, that's
points, I
the way the
suppose.
story goes. That's the way the Italian.
No, but I was talking about. I can't remember. It was not even Charlie Band. It was the ones that were lesser than him, like Live Entertainment or whatever it was back in the day. Did Pinocchio Kills or Pinocchio's Revenge or some shit like that?
Oh,
yeah,
I've heard of that. Yeah.
yeah. And then we got Mikey in the house. How you doing,
Hey.
buddy? Breaking. Tilly Norwood says she's pregnant with Mexican Iron Man's kid. I can confirm this. Number 2, I'm overjoyed to make Mike a Mexican AI baby, and I'm taking him to court for support. Oh, in response to Mike. In response, Mike states, I don't even know this chick. I'm getting an AI DNA test. Would it be a DNA test? Oh.
Hello. You get extra points. Every Latino man get extra points for marrying a gringa. And if even having a baby, it's like triple points.
Yeah, because that almost makes you white, right?
Yeah.
Well, no, it really makes you, the legal paperwork is then set for like 100 years. We're good. We're good. We're good. Yeah. Yeah.
Pack and Protons brought up something that I've been getting tagged in left and right. And we're going to bring this up here because it'll be 2 days before we talk about it. Andre may have to do a special video for this. We have a teaser for the teaser.
Yeah.
Of
That's
Masters of the Universe, as Packing Proton points out here. So here we go, kids. I've already watched this piece of crap.
Oh, wow. That doesn't sound promising.
Womp womp.
No, it's not.
Not long ago, when times were simpler, this was a healthy breakfast. This was a powerful workout. And this was a hero. Perhaps now more than ever, we need that kind of hero again.
I see what they're doing. It's very meta.
Yep, it's totally meta.
He-Man works in the meta universe
That's exactly what I was afraid they were going to do.
Yep. And
because
they're mocking it. I mean, obviously, this was a healthy breakfast. This was a hard workout, and this was a hero. And obviously, the healthy breakfast is the sugar bomb colored cereal.
In other words, they're making He-Man a joke.
Size or something, and the hero is a cartoon He-Man.
right. Remember how stupid He-Man was?
That's exactly what it is. Yeah.
I don't think that's how you make that work.
And you're right, Paul. That's exactly what they're doing. Exactly what Seth Rogen did with Mutant Mayhem, only worse. Because we have people making this movie who are stupid going, oh, He-Man was just a 30-minute fucking commercial for a toy.
Right. Which we know.
How do we make that into a movie?
Yeah. But again, you do what the Japanese do with stupid shit like Kamen Rider. That's pretty much the dumbest thing they make.
Yep.
But they take it completely seriously.
Yeah, in this case, what you do is that you go to the 2002 series, you take the script for the first 3 episodes, there's your starting point, and now you restructure that for a movie. You add what needed, you plan a trilogy or whatever, and you put out the seeds and everything. Boom, there you go. The template is right there. But of course, then you need producers that have seen that thing. You need producers that understand the lore. And here's the important thing, that also understand that, yes, He-Man started out as a toy line. That toy line shouldn't have much merit. It was a Conan ripoff basically made into a toy line because the thing was popular in the 80s. But, and this is what I told Robert Meyer Burnett one time, then you had Lou Scheimer. Lou Scheimer was an artist. He was a Walt Disney that hasn't been given the credit for Walt Disney because he took these licensed properties and he made animated stuff for children about them. But this guy, he had the same attitude as Disney, as Jim Henson. He is tremendously underrated. And he imbued He-Man with life. From the moment that animation happened, that's what you have to look at. Ignore the toy aspect of it. Look at the soul and the heart that has been put into it. And because of that, because of the sincerity that went into that cartoon, it needs to be taken a little bit more serious rather than as a joke.
I think you've got the 2 people to blame the most for this outcome are First of all, Greta Gerwig for what she did with Barbie. So that's obviously a winning template to anybody.
Which is what I was afraid of. Yeah.
The other one is Kevin Smith. I think Kevin Smith did try to take it seriously, but the way he did it and the decisions he made turned off so many He-Man fans.
I agree.
They just rejected it. And
He
now
was coming-
it's like, what are we going to do now? Let's do it this way.
He was coming from a place where he did want to do a serious grown-up
Yeah.
He-Man.
Yeah. and
But
Matt
what
Bomb.
happened is that the person he was listening to was one of the wokey wokes, and that's what happened.
Yeah.
Because
I'm
he was
going
not
to add.
as familiar with it. So yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to add another person to the mix here of who is to blame. Because recall, this movie is one that has been in development now for exactly 20 years. This thing first started out at Fox, then under Tom Rothman when it was being developed under John Woo. Then it shifted to Joel Silver Pictures, who developed it under Warner, and it actually it had a script by Justin Marks, and that script was pretty darn fair. And the thing almost happened until Conan, the 2011 remake, came out, and some schmuck decided that, no, this is too similar to Conan, can't do it. And to be fair, there were some similarities to the 2011 Conan movie. I understand why people would think that, because I have the script. But that movie would have been pretty darn cool, and it's a shame that they decided not to move forward with it. From there, it moved over to Sony and to Amy Pascal. Now, Amy Pascal was the decision maker. Here comes the problem with not understanding it, because with Joel Silver, the script was fairly decent, because the people there, and Christian Harloff was actually one of the people there, they got it close enough that it could have been something special. But then it moved over to Sony, to Amy Pascal, and she just gave it to filmmaker after filmmaker. This is when it became a joke. This is when you had people like John Chu, who went on to do that Gem movie and everything like that, where you had one person after another with completely unsuitable takes. And there was one take which actually kind of worked. And that take was from a fellow countryman of mine, Harald Svart, actually. Now, he's not a huge director in America. He's made a few movies in America. Very few of them were massive hits. He did Agent Cody Banks. He did the second Pink Panther movie with Steve Martin, which I personally prefer, but that's neither here nor there. And he had a pitch for He-Man. And that pitch was actually very similar to what I told you right now, because he's Norwegian like me, so he is able to kind of like relate to that with the fairy tale of the culture. He had a similar experience to He-Man as I did. He's older, so it's not quite the same, but he sees He-Man through a similar lens as I do. Now, his problem was that he didn't have the standing in Hollywood to convince Amy Pascal that he's the guy for this. Because again, this is the guy who did Agent Cody Banks. This is the guy who flopped with the Pink Panther. This is the guy who did, I'm blanking on the name, a movie with Liv Taylor. And One Night in Cool, I think it was. Well, either way, so he had a take which would have been pretty good, and Amy Pascal rejected it and continued with all of these completely unsuitable takes with people that she could get a little bit more behind, but the people that she could get behind were the wrong people with the wrong takes for the property. And so everything just went to hell for that. And now finally we got this. Here, this is from the director behind Bumblebee. So this is a good director, but it is the same basic script that was there with the Nee brothers. And it's a script that I never really got behind because, again, it's an inversion of Barbie. And that's not just Greta Gerwig's fault. That is, again, it's Sony's fault. Because Greta Gerwig, she was a late development to that movie. She came in late in the day. But they had developed a story about Barbie going in and out of Barbie world for 10 years prior to that. And that is something they obviously recycled here, and now it eventually happened.
And Paul had to go, by the way, just so everybody knows.
Yeah.
And why does Cringer have fucking white?
So who this for the completely general audience normies like me on this? Who is everyone here? And even I could tell I was being manipulated with that teaser. I'm just saying.
Yeah. I can tell. The one to the left, that's Roboto.
Okay.
That's the character to the very.
And isn't
very
it what's her face doing the fucking voice of him too, or whatever?
I forgot who did the voice of Roboto.
Yeah, it's like Amy Poehler or somebody like that is doing the fucking voice. I can't remember now.
God.
It's a woman, so you have gender.
Yeah, it's a
bent
woman.
Roboto. Yes.
Yeah, and I hate the costume for Tila. It looks like ass. Man at Arms looks like shit too. And I don't know what the fuck Cringer's got all that white on him for. It makes him look old. Like Cringer does not have a white belly. What the fuck is that all about?
Well, tigers. I'll tell you why. Because if you tigers look like that. Okay.
I don't
Tigers
give a
have
shit.
that
That's not
look.
what Cringer looks like, though.
Yeah.
See, this is where I'm going to start spazzing the fuck out a little bit more, because at least with Barbie, when you look into the Barbie world, that was the part where I got, like, I actually loved the film, and I was like, I didn't like the movie, but I was like, this part of the film should win an award, the production design. Because looking at that movie, it looked like every Barbie toy we saw growing up. Why doesn't this movie look like at least they could have done? At least one thing I will give the Kevin fucking Smith series is the design of that series looks fucking amazing. Fucking amazing. What we have wanted as fans for years. You went a little bit beyond the Filmation series, but you didn't overdo it like they did the 2000 series, right? Because as Andre and I both said that the only problem with the 2000 series is that the designs were just a little too busy. They were just a little too over designed. Yeah. And I think they nailed it with the Kevin Smith show as far as the designs. They stuck with the basics, but they made it look just a tad more realistic. That's all they needed to do here.
Let me ask you a stupid
Adam in a pink
question.
fucking shirt just makes me want to scream too.
Right. Let me ask you a stupid ass question. How about like he transforms into He-Man and then Cringer gets all green and shit? Like, boom, we're back.
Maybe, but here's the other thing: is he's not turning into He-Man until 45 minutes into this movie. Mark my fucking words.
I can answer exactly why he's wearing the pink shirt. If you look at the outfit of Prince Adam, when he's Prince Adam, and you look at he's color coded the exact same way. So here, basically, here's a He-Man who has grown up on Earth in the real world before he goes into He-Man world, and what he's wearing is basically, if you were to wear what Prince Adam is wearing but pass in our world for that, this is what he'd be wearing. So that's why. And don't diss that shirt. I have a shirt just like that. So,
well, people, I get it's salmon. That's not pink. People in the shirt in the chat are saying Cringer's not doesn't look bad. And I will say, man, Camila is a beautiful, beautiful woman, and I hope there's better shots of Camila. I mean, it's not very flattering right there as Tila.
Yeah, I just hate the fucking costume.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, it looks
and
like
she is supposed to be a ginger white chick. I'm sorry.
Yeah, this is the thing that I'm thinking about. Because I'm worried that now, this day and age, there's going to be undue backlash at the actors because they're the wrong ethnicity for the character in what was, I'm not going to say stunt casting, but basically a result of policies. So I have nothing against the actress. I'm sure she's going to be fine. But many are going to react to the fact that she's not a natural ginger. And again, she's Latina, which means that her head is going to, or her hair is going to be dyed pretty extensively and visibly and obviously in order to be able to even pass for a ginger. So,
yeah,
honestly,
she's a Brazilian, and then what? The Man at Arms is black.
I was gonna say Idris Elba as Man at Arms bothers me probably the least. That I can understand. He has that charisma about him. He can play a Man at Arms type, right?
If we weren't,
that I can see.
Well, if we weren't in this era, right, where
that's the problem. I agree with you.
That's the problem. Is that Battlestar Galactica was cool because it wasn't the woke era, but
correct.
I
For instance,
I'm sorry. No,
Yeah, no, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I was about to say, like, dude, that what was done there with Adama, that was such an incredible recasting, and it was such a huge benefit for the series. No one minded in the slightest that he became Latino. It would have been a problem today, but
it would have been a
wasn't
problem. Well,
then.
the writing wasn't. The storytelling was incredible.
It was fantastic. So
so-
no one cared.
Right, because the storytelling was fucking incredible. The characters were incredible. I'm talking about the reboot of Battlestar Galactica.
Of course, it's
That's what this
better
has
than the
to be.
original.
That's what this has to be, because
Yeah.
you have so many race swaps or whatever you call it, and it's like, let's show representation on our,
Where the fuck's Orko? That's my next question.
let's walk the catwalk here with our different representation.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh boy, here we go again.
Yeah, I will say I do not mind Gringer in the slightest, because he looks like a tiger, only where it would be yellow and black. He is green and yellow.
I see
with
what you're
the white
saying, but
being in the right place. So I have no issues with that at all. But that's
here's the thing is I'd have less problems with the designs if I knew the script had a possibility of being good. I have
Right.
zero fucking
Yeah.
faith
No,
in
I'm-
this
I'm-
movie.
that's the problem. Yeah.
I think the big difference here too, and it's stark. Barbie respected Barbie. Barbie respected women who loved Barbie, who grew up with Barbie, and made it fun and flipped it and did the fish out of water thing. And the same thing they're kind of doing here, but it does not feel like there's any respect for the boys who grew up playing with this
Well,
character, the hero, the heroism and things like that. It would not surprise me. It's just a different kind of property too. Like they're kind of making fun of any boys who grew up with this. They weren't making fun of girls who liked Barbie growing up.
no, and the big difference there is, and you're 100% right. With Barbie, like, I'll argue that movie's perfect except for the third act.
Yeah.
Up till the third act, it goes off the rails. But otherwise, they nailed the idea perfectly, because Barbie never had a real set lore. Like, they did do
Yes,
movies,
right.
they did do certain things, but it wasn't like He-Man, to where Barbie's been around for 60, 70 plus years now, or whatever it is, to where she has been anything. Like, that was the whole idea of Barbie, and that's why she is one of the only female brands, as far as I'm concerned, that has lasted, because women can project into Barbie whatever the fuck they want. She can be anything. That was the tagline. That's the whole point.
and
He-Man,
I'll
on
even-
the other, oh, go ahead.
And
Paulie.
I'll even add that they had a respectable story with Ken.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing too, is they gave Ken a story, and it was
Mhm.
fun, and you could have fun with it. This, on the other
Absolutely.
hand, as we're getting to, it has a lore. It has a few different ones, but the one that is the most popular, the one that most people know, and the one that they're clearly stealing from, but they're not following, is the Filmation lore. If you're going to do that, as Andre and I have pointed out many fucking times, the more serious Battlestar Galactica version of that is the 2000 series, where they sat down and they said, okay, we're going to take this semi-hokey kind of jokey story that was made for a toy, right? Because let's not make it any more important than it really is at the end of the day. I'm not going to argue that point. But what made it, it gave it life, as Andre pointed out, was that Lou Scheimer and his team said, we're going to make this more than just a Conan ripoff. We're going to give this a story. We're going to give this a background, a lawyer. Orko, the whole idea that Prince Adam and Orko are Lou Scheimer creations. They did not exist before that fucking TV show. He-Man was He-Man. There was no Adam. He was just He-Man. And then they created this whole lore and this whole idea that there's a background. And then they compounded it even more in the 2000 series by making Skeletor his uncle, right? So there's even more that gets into it. So to me, not
That
following
actually
that is the
came
biggest
end
mistake.
of the toy line. I mean, it was ratified in the 2002 series, but the origin actually came in the toy line. But
This is what-
what never made the series, though, is my point. But yeah.
Can I ask,
Sure.
can I ask you guys one question? Because
Yeah.
we're getting the trailer tomorrow.
yeah,
Could we be wrong?
I don't think so.
Yes.
Not with this story. I would love to think there's a possibility, but unfortunately, we're getting the fucking sequel to the fucking Dolph Lundgren movie we never got in the first place that ended up turning into Captain America. And I know
Yeah.
that makes not much sense to anybody who hasn't watched our videos in the past. But as we pointed out, there was supposed to be a sequel to Masters of the Universe, the Dolph Lundgren film. The movie is basically this fucking plot. He-Man literally ends up getting fucking amnesia, going to Earth. Skeletor comes to Earth too, takes over, becomes a politician. In the meantime, He-Man gets his fucking memory back and has to save the world. That's what this fucking story is.
This is what one of our writers at Bleeding Fool refers to as a punitive remake. He argues on our website. You mentioned that Battlestar Galactica, the 2004. He called that our first punitive remake, where they try to correct all the wrongs of the original and kind of basically undermine the optimism from the original things and the heroism, etc. And
Well, I don't think
he's
it's
spot
on purpose, though. I think it's
do.
because they're just not aware of it. I think it's
don't
like
know.
with,
I think there's some disdain that's cooking there, and that's part
there
of the
may be,
brew.
but unlike, I think it's more like the Kevin Smith thing where he just was never a fan and he was listening to Ted Biacelli. In this case, you have people who wrote this movie who have no idea what the fuck it is. You have people that are involved with it who may have grown up with it. Like, I don't know if the director of Bumblebee did or not, but this is where I called Kevin Smith on in his bullshit. And along with Clownfish TV, we dug up where he's actually said he wasn't a Masters of the Universe fan and called him on his lies. Right? Like, so that's the thing is you have this, and that's what I was going to compare it to with Seth Rogen with TMNT. He claimed he was a fan, but then you go actually listen to him. He never probably watched the show. He played with a few of the toys that his dad bought him at a fucking garage sale. Yeah. So if he was really a fan, he'd have been there day one buying the toys just like everybody else. No, he didn't give a shit because that movie comes off just like a parent thought Ninja Turtles was back in the day, not what it really was. And again, this show is coming, or this movie's coming off like what somebody thought He-Man was back in the day, not what it really was. And that's the problem.
The turtle should have gone back to the comics, the original.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
When Read by Nature, just to be clear with this, they used the sets and the costumes for Cyborg that were going to be for Masters of the Universe 2, but the story got recycled into Captain America.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah. And incidentally, it was Albert Payun who did both. Albert Payun is the one who did Cyborg. He recycled the costumes there, but then he also had the script and he recycled that into Captain America. Much of Captain America, the 1990s version, came from the aborted Masters of the Universe. Now, as for the question, could we be wrong? Most probably, and this is the very, very likely option, Tom is completely right, and there is no hope here. However, to paraphrase Dumb and Dumber, and we're talking about the same level of chance here, there is a chance that the marketing people are the ones that screwed up here. They are the ones who decided, hey, this is a stupid thing. How do we sell this stupid thing? But for all we know, maybe the director, and this is the only reason I have any level of hope still, the director did such an incredible job with Bumblebee. If he is able to take the script and imbue some level of life into it, there may be some hope here, but there is no way it is going to be the movie that we all would want it to be, because we are still dealing with a Prince Adam who has grown up on Earth, separated for Eternia, and then he comes back and he has to rediscover it, fish out of water story, and that's the completely wrong story for He-Man. So then it's a matter of how good can you possibly do such a story that is fundamentally the wrong story? That's the question. I don't have the answer. Tom probably is right about it. But again, when you have a filmmaker like that, then yeah, but who knows?
And this is the article that you were referring to, by the way, for those. I'll share the link in the chat too. So
okay,
check it out.
Yeah, it's a good read. And Alec is one of the first on our site that said Star Wars is dead. He also gets into Star Trek on here. A lot of the things that we're talking about. I would ask this, Andre, since the trailer's coming out tomorrow, can we expect a Midnight's Edge updated Motu video that kind of gets into some?
Probably, yeah. Probably you can.
Nice.
Because,
it's funny you mentioned that, because if Andre checks his messages, I just sent him.
I saw it, yeah.
Synchronicity.
Yeah, indeed.
But I don't know if we'll have it done by tomorrow, but maybe the time the movie
Definitely
comes out.
by tomorrow. These things take time.
Yeah, but
maybe the
no,
weekend.
there's a 2 decades worth of He-Man movies that never happened, starting with that, sequel,
Sequel, yeah.
basically. And yeah, this is a franchise that unfortunately I don't think is going to have it's still not going to take off. And it's sad because the success that the Ninja Turtles movie had in the 1990s, had they done it right, the Masters of the Universe movie, had it come out a year sooner, probably would have been just as big.
Yeah.
It was the timing that killed that first movie. The movie had come at the wrong fucking time for the franchise because She-Ra had already killed it. And this is something that a lot of people don't want to admit. As much as She-Ra is beloved and as good as the show was, which is all Lou Scheimer, again, to give credit where credit's due, that fucking toy line destroyed Masters of the Universe. It was the toy line. It was not the show. The show was fine. He-Man played a big part of the show, and in the show they were treated as equals and everything was fine. But on the toy aisle, the sad part was the toys were incompatible. You had the Evil Horde, which were the same size as He-Man, up against She-Ra, which was a third of the size of He-Man, and more in line with like Teela and them. But then the guys in the She-Ra line were all puny. So basically, they were almost the size of G.I. Joes compared to He-Man. So you stack Bo up against He-Man, they don't look the same. But in the cartoon, they are the same height, same weight, same everything. Right? So to a kid, you're looking at going, that shit ain't right. And that's what turned me off of it too, was I could not play with both. They weren't compatible. Now, my cousins, of course, had all the She-Ra figures and they wanted to play Masters of the Universe. Well, the last thing I wanted to do was play with the characters that weren't compatible. It just didn't make any sense to me as a kid. And I know it sounds stupid at the end of the day, but it makes sense to a child. It's like...
I believe Robert Meyer Burnett has a word for that. Verisimilitude. Verisimilitude was broken. It was the first experience a whole generation had with it.
And not only that, the She-Ra figures were designed by the Barbie group. And we brought this up in our Masters of the Universe breakdown, a multi-part documentary we do about the history. And yeah, they came in because they were pissed because for the first time ever, a boy brand outsold Barbie, because Barbie was always the top. And when He-Man outsold Barbie, they're like, well, we can't have that shit. So, yeah. Then Grimzilla says, this Motu film will live or die on how funny and memorable Skeletor is, and he's being played by Leto. I'm so sorry, gentlemen. Skeletor is key. Yeah, it's not going to be good.
Skeletor is key. Skeletor is the most important character. This is true. He's more important than He-Man.
Leto would be great.
This even in the 80s.
Leto looks like Keldor. I don't have a problem with him playing Keldor. If you want him to play Keldor, all you got to do is paint that motherfucker blue. Like, that's it. But now Skeletor, that should be like Steve Buscemi or somebody like that. You need somebody who can play, or better yet, Willem Dafoe. Somebody who can play both villainous, but also throw some cracks at some of those bastards, because he's stuck with a bunch of nincompoops. That's his whole point. Like, he can't get anybody to do anything, and he has to do everything himself. Right? That's the joke, right? Like he's so if you're gonna do that, fine. But even in the 2000 series, they made him a little bit more vicious. There weren't as many cracks. There weren't as many bumbling boob lines, right? Like they made it a little bit more less goofy. Now, I don't have a problem if you're going to pay homage to some of that stuff, but that's not even really what they're doing. They're paying homage to the visage or the idea of what He-Man was. And that's what I was getting at with the Seth Rogen thing, because you watch that and you're going, how is Seth Rogen a He-Man or a TMNT fan? I doubt he ever watched the show. Because if you watch it,
I don't even think they're paying homage. I think they're just undermining and subverting it.
Yeah.
It's just, it's some sort of ideological critique of it, I bet.
But it works for Barbie because the idea of Barbie lends itself to that. He-Man does not. See, Barbie can be meta. Barbie can be a different kind of, like that fish out of water take on that idea. That was the right direction to go. The ending was the problem, right? Like, and I rewrote the ending and fixed it for them. All they had to do is just have Barbie go, I don't want to be a stewardess. I don't want to be a doctor. I don't want to be an astronaut. What I want to be is a mom. That's all they had to do to fix that ending. That's all they had to do, because there's no Barbie in Barbie world that's a mom. So anyway, but that being said,
He-Man, disability Barbie in a wheelchair.
There's tons of those, but like, no, like at the end of the day, He-Man, they're going to treat it the same fucking way. And that's not what He-Man is. He-Man is high fantasy.
Right.
It is so like, it is 80s infused sword and sorcery meets sci-fi. It was basically Star Wars meets Conan, right? Like, that was the one thing that the Dolph Lundgren movie did get right, was they got the tone of, we're going to mix sci-fi Star Wars with sword and sorcery. They just didn't get the story. They didn't have, Adam. They couldn't afford to do Orko, and they couldn't afford to do Battle Cat and all those kind of things. That's fine for that movie, for that time. We could accept that. But we're in a day and age now where like I just said, where the fuck was Orko in that picture? Are we even going to get Orko in this movie? Like, what are they doing with this? This does not look or sound so far anything like what I'm hoping for. It just sounds like it's making fun of the 80s and He-Man, and it's going to be nothing but cheese and tongue-in-cheek gay jokes throughout. And as we already know, we're going to have the fucking song and hey, yeah, 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 yeah. Because that's all it's going to be, is meme after fucking meme after fucking meme. Because that's all people remember of He-Man now that aren't fans. They remember the fucking stupid commercial where He-Man and Skeletor are dancing to Dirty Dancing. So I guarantee you there's going to be a fucking reference to that. There's going to be the what's going on reference. There's going to be
100%.
it's going to just make me cringe like Cringer out the fucking door.
Yep. It's a shame.
And then, speaking of that, Wild Man of Yavin says He-Man hit peak when he's saying, "Hey, what's going on?" Well, he hit peak as far as his range, let's say.
Yeah, his singing range. Yeah.
His singing range. And I don't even like how they tried to make the narrator sound like, oh God, I just forgot his name, the guy who does the voice of He-Man.
Oh yeah.
John Irwin.
Yeah, they make him sound like John Irwin, and I don't like that either. But to me, it's because why can't you take it more seriously? That's my problem. I just want him to take it seriously. That's all.
Again, this is the trailer,
And
so made by marketing people. So we just have to wait and see how
Fair.
what the movie looks like.
But I did not like that shot of him. Like the first shot of him where he just looks like he's going to cry or something.
Yeah, he sees the sword or something, so he's going to.
Oh, okay.
It's like a toy museum or something. It's.
I didn't like the teaser. It just,
Yeah,
now
that's the teaser
it's
for the teaser. So just
sitting with it. It's like,
It's not
Well,
giving me what I need.
Yeah,
And
what
hopefully
we do
they'll-
know is
yeah.
is that he from what I've heard about the movie, he was separated from that sword as a child, and he's been trapped on Earth and been forced to grow up here because of it. And seeing the sword, that's also his road home. So
Okay, well,
devil's advocate, yeah. So
and
yeah.
the direct, like you said, the Bumblebee guy also was writing it. I mean, there could be a good story there.
Yeah,
He's
we'll just have to
directing
look and see. He's directing. He's not writing it. So the hope is that he has rewritten the shit story that he was given.
Oh,
Let's hope. Let's
Okay.
hope that he's been
All
able
right.
to infuse it.
Yeah.
But seeing this trailer does not give me much hope.
Yeah.
And again, I will concede that, yes, the marketing department are people that have more of a control over this part of it. I'm not going to dispute that. But we'll see the trailer tomorrow, and I think Andre and I may have to make a quick reaction vid to
Yeah,
that.
probably.
Uh,
But
Jason-
let's
Jason
move on
Webster
here.
says Will Smith in The Good, the Bad, and the Slap Happy. Yeah. Packet Proton says DCU Batman writer hired. Lady who wrote Flash. It's dead, Jim.
I actually did look that up, and there's a hedge to that. The writer, apparently, this is something that has not been made official. It is something that's being reported by multiple online scoopers who are saying that the writer is Christina Hodson. And this is true. She is the writer of Birds of Prey, and she is one of the writers associated with The Flash. You know what she also wrote? Bumblebee. Sole credited writer on Bumblebee. No, not the sole, but she's one of the main writers on Bumblebee. So to me, that's, again, bad optics. Bad optics. But it depends entirely on who she's working with. Because
Speaking
she's
of Flash,
someone that has delivered good and bad.
there is a rumor now that we might get a new Flash sooner than we thought. The Flash might be showing up in Mana tomorrow, is the new rumor.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Mm-hmm. So we'll see if we get a new
Yeah.
Flash and who they might be. And then we get Ruby Hoove here, who gifted a membership and has been a member for 19 months. Thank you so much, Ruby Hoove. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Joe Pat 87 says, did you ever hear Godzilla -0 getting a date?
Yep.
I believe it's next year.
It's January 27, right?
I was going to say, yeah, because they cannot release it the same year as one of the legendary films. That's the only thing that it will be. And aren't we getting one of those this year? Is it vice versa? Trying to remember now.
I think it's vice
Remember.
versa. But
So
it's great
I'm-
news.
Yeah, either way, we're eating good as Godzilla fans.
That's
But
right.
Yes,
Yes, we are.
I think look it up, Joe Pat. I'm not sure. I thought they got a date, but I'll look here in just a second. Pack and Proton says Shatner is ready to take control of Star Trek. Yes, we brought this up, and Paulie had to go. Good to see you, Paulie. Yeah, he was poking some fun online, even though he still has me blocked for whatever reason I do not know. And I gave that man money. But yeah, do I think Shatner could take control of Star Trek?
It's not going to happen. I mean, he's joking. So yeah,
He's obviously joking, but
obviously.
it would be in better
No,
shape.
he couldn't.
But
He had control over Star Trek 5. Let's move on. We have.
I like Star Trek 5. Don't get me wrong. Actually, I'm one of the few people who does.
Yeah.
But I'm also would sit there to admit that he would make it all about Kirk, no matter what it was, because it would have to all be about Kirk. Because I love Shatner, but he's very egotistical when it comes to that kind of stuff. And I believe most of the stories we hear about him. And I don't think he's ever denied stealing lines from other actors in the show. Smack MMK sends in 10 and says the new Star Trek episodes have been out for almost a week. Only has 194K. There are videos that critics have made of the show that have been out for a day and have 1.2 million views. This is true, but the numbers that I want to hear though or see are the Paramount Plus numbers. Those are the numbers that really matter at the end of the day.
It's already out of the top 10.
And it is. Yes, I think it only stayed in there for like one day from what I saw.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then Lord Kamina says, Paul, oh shit, we just missed him. Paul, you should watch El Guapo Pilotin Latino Slant. I'll
Make sure
send
he
him
gets
that.
it.
Make sure he
Yeah.
gets that. Shout that real quick. And then we got bass player 2011 Iffy, who says it was and Justice for All. Okay, so it was a little earlier. Okay, arguably their best album that lost to Tull. Even worse, I guess. They won when they released the Black Album. Okay,
That's right.
A lot of
my
really
confusion
good bass lines in that album.
Yeah, great. From bass player. That's right.
Storm Weaver says, good morning, Midnight's Edge, and thank you for the Canadian 50. Wow, that's
Well,
amazing.
thank you. Yeah. Most
Hope you and
appreciated.
yours are well. Thank you. Well, we're doing the best we can. Thanks for all the great work and all the best. Take care. Well, we've had a rough start to the year, but hopefully we'll get through it as best we can, and we'll have some announcements hopefully soon about all that. But thank you for the support, my friend. Captain Fandom Nerd has also been here for 54 freaking months. That's amazing.
4.5 years. Way to go.
Time flies.
It does. Valentine Puppy is in the house. How you doing, Valentine? Says, Tom, remember Geppetto with Drew Carey in 2000? I didn't until you just mentioned it.
Wow.
Like, that was a while ago, yeah.
Wow.
There's a lot of those TV movies that it bothers me that Disney has not released yet. And the reason is, and there's one main one that's a reason, and most people don't even remember this, Bruce Campbell was in a Herbie movie.
Oh, the Love Bug. Yeah.
I want that.
Oh, it's not available on home video?
No,
Or streaming?
no, only on some VHS rip on YouTube.
Oh no.
It is the Lost Herbie movie. And when I bring that up, most people are like, Bruce Campbell was in a Herbie movie? I'm like, yes, he was. Disney made all sorts of TV movies in the late 90s, early 2000s that have yet to see home video. And some of them were sequels and remakes and other things that just never have
Was
surfaced
that
since.
a remake? That was 97.
It was a reboot-quel.
Okay.
It was a sequel to the original film.
Part remake, part sequel.
Well, yeah. So it was basically Bruce, I think, was playing the son of the original character, if I remember right.
Oh.
So yeah. And then we got Jason Webster who says George Lazenby served in Australian Army Elite SAS. Oh, wow. I did not know that. And then Jason Webster says in Vietnam, Australia Army SAS were good at reconnaissance, and specialist missions. The Viet Cong called them ghosts of the jungle.
Oh, wow, nice.
Mm.
I mean, that's a country that's a fan of the Phantom right there.
Yeah. I saw that's getting a 4K release, Andre.
Yeah.
And then D-Bud has been here for 57 months, not to be beaten, because he's got to compete with Captain Phantom Nerd. But D-Bud swinging that wrench around, saying, "I've been here for 57 months." He had to drop that on the table. But there we go. We're all caught up. Thank you for being here, guys. Chris, anything going on over at Bleeding Fool?
Well, there's always something going on over at Bleeding Fool. Today, we just posted something. You know, we had talked a little bit about on the Monday show about Kathleen Kennedy leaving. So Todd has posted kind of goes into a deep dive on a couple of the Indiana Jones projects that she canceled. And we also have confirmation that Darkseid is going to be in the DCU. He's just going to be in an upcoming animated series that James Gunn is putting out, a Mr. Miracle animated series written by or based on a series by none other than Tom King again. I think it's the Tom King, James Gunn universe over there now. So see how that turns out over at Bleeding Fool.
Very cool. Yeah.
All right. And to answer the Godzilla question, okay, so you're right. I did have them flipped. This year is when -0 comes out in November. And then I believe next year is when the next Godzilla Kong movie comes out.
Okay. Yep.
But Monarch actually drops in a month. So there you go, kids.
You're talking about the series over on Apple. Yeah.
Yep. Season 2.
I watched that. It's really the scenes with the monsters, fantastic. And of course, Kurt Russell, I always enjoy Kurt, but
I only disliked one episode.
You did not. Yeah.
The only episode I didn't like was the one that was revolved around the lesbian couple. And the only reason I didn't like it is because they never resolved it. Maybe they will in the second season. Maybe they won't, because they just didn't resolve like what the deal was. Like, you got to watch the show to understand it. But I didn't have an issue with her being a lesbian. My point was, okay, you just spent this whole episode on this, and they went on 2 separate buses, and we know that the other person dies. Spoilers. But what was the significance from there? You needed to give me a reason for us spending a whole fucking episode on this. If it was just to tell us that she lost somebody, we already knew that.
You have to resolve yourself, if you're watching any show on Apple, that there will be LGBTQ, whether it's 7.
And again, I didn't have a problem with it. But.
No, of course not. So once you get past that, then you go, okay, well, is it written well? I mean, are we at least going to get it written well?
It kind of reminded me of the Jeffrey Dahmer problem. And the problem with that was that Netflix show, it was decent. It took some liberties, don't get me wrong, but they spent an entire episode on an LGBT character who happened to be deaf. And I'm sitting here watching the whole show going, is that the only reason you're keying in on this character? Because there's a dozen other victims that you never even mention, let alone get an entire episode dedicated to them. So it felt very like, okay, you're only doing this because they're a black deaf person. That's it.
Well, they get money for it. I mean, it helps pay for the production.
Exactly. So like in that sense, I just like, whatever. Is there a real significance to it? They basically alluded to, oh, this is a person he may have actually had a relationship with. There's zero proof to that. But hey, if you want to go that route, go ahead. Otherwise, no. That's the only thing is I saw it as that kind of a thing. But otherwise, I thought the show was fine. So that comes out in a month. Godzilla comes out at the end of the year. -0, that is. And then I believe we get another Godzilla Kong.
Like you said, we're eating good. Godzilla fans are eating great. Yeah.
Basically, you get
Paramount, just for the record, the YouTube Paramount, that episode 1 still has not hit 80,000 views.
Wow, that's bad.
That's bad.
It's free, kids.
Yeah, go watch it. Go watch it. Star Trek.
It's probably even free on Amazon and stuff, I bet, too. I haven't even I have Paramount Plus through Amazon, so I haven't checked or can't check, really. But if somebody out there who doesn't, let us know. I bet you $5 it's free to watch on Amazon as well. Because a lot of the first episodes of Paramount Plus shows, I'll be real about this. This is not the first show that they've done this to.
Yeah.
Like Landman, they did this to. Tulsa King and other shows they've done this to on Paramount Plus, where you can watch the first episode for free. I can even watch the first episode of the Pluribus Apple show for free on Amazon. Just the first episode. Pluribus, is that what it's called? Y'all been talking about? All right. Well, with that, we're caught up, I believe. Was there anything on the Rumble side? Let me double check. I don't see anything here. Are we even on Rumble today? No, we are not.
We are not on Rumble today. No.
We're on all sorts of other channels, but yeah.
We are not on Rumble. We'll be back again on Friday.
Yes.
It's,
All right.
it's been a day. It may have been a cracker show, but it's been a day. When it rains.
Yeah, not a bad
pours.
show. Not a
What do you
bad
want?
show. So,
Yeah.
Andre, I know we got a few things we're working on in the background. I don't know
We
if you want
do.
to plug
We
any
have,
of them. but,
we have things we are working on. I don't think we have any. Well, I know we are not going to be able to release anything today, but there's definitely going to be a He-Man video tomorrow. You best believe that. For when the trailer drops. And we have other things we're working on as well. So stay tuned for that. Meanwhile, check out the channels of all of our compatriots. Be sure to check out Call Me Chato, as well as Appalling News. Lord knows there's a lot of that going on. Do check out Latino Slant. And of course, make sure to read Bleeding Fool. Anything I missed then, Chris?
No, I think you covered it. That was great. Let's let it rain.
All right. Awesome. Yeah. Yeah. Rain.
Make it rain.
Koala. Make it rain.
Koalas in the rain, koalas in the rain, no fucks given. Koalas in the rain.